Hello, hello, hello. Hi, welcome. I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. Today we have a powerful show tonight. It is time for election. So we are down to the wire. Down to the wire, only a few more days, less than 30 days before the election. And I hope all of you are registered to vote because today is the last day to register here in Georgia. But if you want to do an absentee, well, and shall I say rather than but, if you want to register for a absentee ballot, go ahead and do that. You have until I think like the 18th or 19th to do that. Let me verify that. 28th. You have until the 28th of this month to sign up for absentee ballot. You can go to the polling spots, well, to the voting place, and get one, or you can do it online. You can make your request online. So if you think you might not be able to vote early, or you may not be in town to vote in person, please request your absentee ballot. You have until the 28th, but I wouldn't say go wait until the 28th to get it. Get it as soon as possible. If you want to walk down and get it, you can fill it out right there on the spot and hand it to them. I wish you could take your ballot with you, but you can't. You cannot take your ballot, but please make sure you vote. It is so important. Our lives are literally hinging on this election. Okay. It is everything about our lives is hinging on this election and who we put in office to represent us. Okay, so be sure you do that. Okay. Um, this is also Violence Awareness Month. So be aware of that. Uh, a lot of people are being violated and it's not being reported. If you know someone who's been domestically abused, don't report it. Get some help. Help them to get help, or just call in for help. There's help for you. Okay, there is help. Maybe my co-host can tell you a little bit more who can help you out. I know. I can't even think now. But get help, okay? And it's nothing to worry about, to be ashamed of, or anything like that, because it's nothing that you did. So if you reach out for help, you can get help. So I'm bringing in my co-host now, Reggie Drama. Hi, Reggie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding, Devin Sylvia. Awesome day, awesome day. It's always good news to be over here at Good News Prime Time, and I'm excited. We definitely want everybody to come on over and comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you'll be kept abreast of all the good news. And it's some good news. It's voting time in Georgia. It's voting time in
Mhm.
Georgia, and November 8th is the big day. That's the
Yes.
big day. But you call the names of a couple key dates um, that's very important before that. This was the last day to register to vote. Uh, so many things are going over, and it made me think. You know, this is they call this the midterm election.
Mm.
Whenever you see um, a lot of things, a lot of bills, whether it's in the state or if it's up in Congress. These are the people that vote on those things. When you look at Medicare, insulin, road repairs, all these federal, state government funding, these are the people that do it. You got the governor. We know about that race between Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams. We got the lieutenant governor. Everybody's up for a job. This is the whole executive branch. The Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Senate race, Raphael Warnock against Herschel Walker. They have 14 seats that are in the U.S. Congress, the House of Representatives. 14 seats, 14 seats, 14 seats are open, and we're gonna be voting on those 14 seats. You got
Mm.
the Secretary of Labor. You got um, a 56 state Senate positions. We got 56 state Senate positions available around the state. And we got 180 state House positions open. All this is going to be going on. So we encourage people to be proactive. Know before you go. Know before you go to the polls. The school superintendent, the soil and water commissioner, labor commissioners. There are a lot of people that jobs are up on this election. You know what we say over here? We should buy, lease, rent, or own a politician. This is your time
Mm-hmm.
to really exercise your vote. Just don't give it away. Take the time to research. And there's, I think there are 4 amendments that's on the ballot. 4 amendments that's on the ballot. So we got a whole lot. That's why they call it midterms. This is the biggie before 2023, 24 when the presidential election goes on. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to set the deck. This is going to determine in the U.S. Senate who's going to be the majority leader, because if Georgia's seat is so important, because if Raphael Warnock loses, that means that the Democrats no longer hold a House. I mean, the U.S. Senate. And even though they wasn't getting a lot done, but they did get some things done. Okay, so this is why this is so important. This election, and it's going to be critical that we get out and vote.
Yeah, it is critical that you do that. And there are places, if you need to know where to go vote at, you can always go to what, my voters page to
Yes, my
look
voters
it
pick.
up.
Yep.
And a lot of precincts have been moved. Okay, so be sure you check it out, because you don't want to stand in a long line at 5 o'clock and decide and find out that you can't vote because you're not in that precinct anymore and you got to go somewhere else. By the time you get to the other place, it may be closed. Okay, so make sure you check ahead of time who's in your precinct and who you can vote for. Okay, make sure all your information is correct so you won't have any problems when you get there, because a lot of people have been taken off the list. They've been moved to a different precinct, and you don't want that to happen to you. So be due diligent and check it out. Okay, and I have some numbers for the different counties. For Gwinnett County, if you need any information where you need to drop off your absentee ballot or any other information on voting, Gwinnett, you can call 770-822-8000. That's for Gwinnett County. I'm going to repeat that number, 770-822-8000. That's for Gwinnett. For DeKalb County, 404-298-4020. Again, 404-298-4020. For Fulton County, 404-612-4000. Again, 404-612-4000. So that's DeKalb, Gwinnett, and Fulton. Okay, you can call those numbers and find out what you need to do as far as getting an absentee ballot or anything on voting. That's the place to call. If you need to know where to go vote at, they can tell you that too. Okay, they can tell you where you can drop off your absentee ballot or where you can go vote. Any information. And I even called today and asked them about that water thing. They told me if grandma, I asked them if grandma was in line and I wanted to give her some water, am I going to be arrested? But she said no. They think the law is for those who's carrying a big old cooler and handing out water to everybody. So that's what I was told. If you're giving an individual water, it's okay. But if you're taking water to everybody, then they have a problem with that. Now, they might change it during election time, but that's what I was told from the voter's office. Okay. So it is important. Now, let's talk about our candidates. that my biggest one right now is Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. Warnock. That's the biggest one. I Raphael don't for me. There is no doubt that he could win. You know, he has the integrity to win. I mean, he has a proven track record. He's the man. You ask me because even with the healthcare, he's already doing stuff for healthcare. These 2 years, if it's been 2 years that he's been in office, he has been doing things for people. You know, those people who are just getting on Medicare, is it Medicare? Yeah, Social Security. If you're just getting on that, you're gonna find there's some great benefits. It's not as bad as it used to be. Okay, so the benefits are better. You don't have to worry about a whole lot of money for medical expenses and stuff like that because they're making a way for the insurance and stuff. Because you've been paying for it all your life. You've been paying for every time you work. They take a Medicare out of your check. Okay, so you've been paying for it all your life, and it's time to reap the benefits. And so this is you're getting the benefits. And Herschel Walker, I don't see nothing he's done. You know, I do not see anything. I mean, he's lying. You know, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And for him to be beating on his wives and pulling guns on them, and he's saying that abortions under no circumstances, no abortions. It's like no. Now, that's hypocritical because he paid for somebody to have an abortion, but now he's saying no, under no circumstances should you have an abortion. That's wrong because I know I heard of this woman who has cancer, right? Okay, she's in the early stages of pregnancy, so she cannot get cancer treatments because she's pregnant. Okay, so she can't get abortion because they made it illegal. Now, what kind of stuff? She has kids already, so what she have to do is wait till she have the baby, and then get cancer treatments, which means the cancer probably don't spread all over her body. She probably suffer and die, leave the kids by themselves. What kind of stuff is that? And then I was hearing that they're gonna track down people who had miscarriages and stuff like that to see if it was
Wow.
a purpose on miscarriage. It's cause women, they lose babies all the time. They just drop because their body can't hold it, and then they have to go and get a DNC, get their insides cleaned out. So now, if they have a miscarriage and they go get cleaned out, cops gonna come looking for them. That is totally wrong. Totally wrong. And then for me hearing this woman who had to give birth to a baby that didn't have a head, you know,
Wow.
that's totally wrong. That's cruel. And they doing all this to women to make them have babies. They need to stop giving these men this Viagra and this other one, Cialis.
Okay.
That's what they do. They need to
Well,
stop giving.
well,
They're gonna treat
I
women
see.
like what?
I see you're quite passionate about this, and you know what? And we see that a lot of things don't matter uh, when it comes down to women rights, when it comes down to veterans, infrastructure, senior benefits, assistance, immigration, jobs. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
well, all those things going to be up for grabs. Those positions that we talked about in the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives, and then statewide, if you got 180 something positions being open for the in Georgia, that means every county's got a representative. That's 180 people, and you got something like 50 plus people running in the state for a state Senate position. That's a lot of people. This is a critical time to not get caught up in the okie doke. They're gonna throw a lot of sidebar conversations. We got to focus on that race. The governor race is critical.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Senate race is critical, but all these other races, all the way down the ballot, there are six Georgia's. uh, judicial position. These are judges' positions that are up on the ballot. There's a lot that's there. So we have to do our research, and it's going to be critical that you know before you go. You know before you go. Uh,
Exactly.
and they're going to be throwing a lot of distractions. There are going to be a lot of distractions. Part of voter suppression is distractions. Uh, we have to educate our families, our friends, our loved ones, especially the seniors. I looked at my voter. I went to my voters page and saw saw the ballot. Uh, Also, you can go to the Secretary of State page. Well, a lot of times, some of our seniors might not know how to navigate those pages. So it's very important that you work alongside our seniors. Like you said, they changed a lot of voting polls. We had a lot of redistricting. They redistrict,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that they drew the lines. In my in East Point, where I used to vote, I won't be able to vote there. I'm voting somewhere else. Now, also early voting. When early voting goes down, it ends, but some people might assume that you could vote in those precincts, but you won't be able to do that. You have to vote in the precinct that's designated for you. And it can be frustrating if you take Big Mama or Uncle Bob out and you take them to a polling site, and you find out when you in the line and you get there and you find out you're at the wrong place. So we got to pay attention. A lot of voter suppression. And these were some things. Some counties, you get a county like Gwinnett, which is one of the largest counties in Georgia. By law in Georgia, the county does not have to have but one voting box for absentee ballots. It's monitored 24/7. But see, these are the little things that they're doing to frustrate voters. This is early voting. Uh, they got when you do the mail-in ballots, they're making sure that you either have your driver's license number or your state ID number on the outer envelope, or they're not going to do look at the ballot. These are things that would throw people's ballots out. So we have to be proactive and check uh, and double check when you do your absentee ballot. There's a lot of voter suppression, voter frustration. We encourage people to go to SaveMyVote2022.org. That's SaveMyVote2022.org. What that does, you'll find out some of those things that they are doing to suppress your vote. Like you said, the water. Yeah, you can bring Big Mama some water, but if they catch you in that line giving water out to multiple people, you're gonna have a problem, especially in some of these little towns. You got in Georgia, you got two Georgias. You got hot Atlanta and you got not Atlanta. You got hot Atlanta and you got not Atlanta. Not Atlanta is the rest of Georgia. That's where you see a lot of voter suppression. They got less voter boxes. They're closing the polls early. Saturday, Sunday voting, early voting is not available. And then they got this thing where they challenge voters. You got people challenging voters, calling people up, uh, purging their names from the poll, making them prove that they are eligible to vote. That's going back to Jim Crowism, bringing all that stuff into the game. So we got to be proactive. And, for all those people that say, well, voting is not important, I don't get nothing out of it. Evidently, there's something that you can get out of it, because these people would not be going through those extremes to suppress your voting power. When you talk about women's rights, Georgia is one of the hardest states when it comes down to abortion. Georgia is one of the hardest states, and it's not just the governor; it's those 180 people that you got for the state House of Representatives. It's those 50 people that you got for the state Senate. These people are suppressing a woman's right to choose. Okay, so we have to
Mm-hmm.
be clear, and we have to pay attention. Okay, and it's going to be critical. It's going to be important.
Yeah, and if you don't want to vote for somebody who's going to vote against women, okay? Because
Check
it's
their
not
record.
just you personally; it's you, your cousin, your sister, your niece, your friend's daughter. your grandchildren, everybody's going to be affected. Women as a whole, the female population as a whole will be affected by these people who's in office. They're making choices for you that shouldn't be done. It should be your personal choice. It's like taking control of the women. No, we do not let men control us. No, 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 no. You put people in office who will represent you in those cases. I mean, they try to scare you into a lot of stuff. I mean, I was listening to them talking about how the Democrats want to. It seemed like to me they were saying they want to make the people have make their breasts cut off and give them hormones and forcing that on them. It's like no, no, no. That is not what anybody do. Anybody with their right mind would not believe that. Of course, way back in the 50s, and the 60s, and the 40s, you might think, well, not even that, because back then they were keeping people from having babies. Forced for abortions, the forced sterilization, especially on black women and Indians, people of color. They were sterilizing these women without them even knowing about it. And now they're forcing women to have babies, and they don't want to have these babies. So if it was way back then, I could see, but I don't see that still, them trying to force children to have these sex changes. That's what they're saying, that the Democrats are forcing children to have sex changes. That is wrong. I don't believe that for nothing in the world. But they're changing a whole lot of stuff. They are changing. The Republicans are the ones who are forcing stuff on people, and that's wrong. They're forcing stuff on people, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, and this is going to be critical. This is just an upcoming of what the next big election is going to be like when the presidential election comes down in 2024. I believe there are outside forces, maybe outside of the United States, maybe outside of the Republican and the Democrat Party, that is putting a lot of fake information out. What fake information does, fake information confuses people. It has them running around in circles, fussing and arguing over things that don't exist. Okay? When you see a lot of the fake news, a lot of the fake headlines, you might have to cross check. And you know what? You can't even trust Google. You can't trust Facebook. You can't trust Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff, because the algorithms will support whatever you put in it. If you put in, if you Google and it looks like you support a particular thing, guess what? You're gonna see all that. That's why these people in America now, people are so hardened on their views. And they'll pull this stuff up. I just had a guy today, and almost, I'm a grown man. I almost cried. I felt sorry for this brother. This brother has some information. Well, it's just like if somebody told you that the Easter Bunny was alive, they found him in Miami. Okay. Now, when somebody says something like that, that should be a clear indicator that either all the elevators not going upstairs, or they just want to do something to distract you. But this brother was saying something about the election in Georgia, and I'm not going to even repeat it because I'm not going to give it any energy. But what he said, I said, well, check that again. Now, he was going around telling people this false information, and he felt real good about saying it. But after further review of the play, we found out that information didn't even exist. He couldn't find out who did it, who said it, when they said it. It was just something that he said he heard at a barbershop. I don't know. But these are things that people are doing. When you start doing all that stuff, that's a part of voter suppression. People will put false information out and make you chase it. They'll put false information out and make you chase it. There was recently, I'm gonna tell you what the guy said. He said that on the debate that's between Warnock and and Herschel Walker, he said Donald Trump is going to be in town to moderate the debate because he didn't think that they was going to have an impartial person. Now I said, brother, where did you get that from? And he said, yeah, Donald Trump going to be in town. I said, well, why would a president, you know, of the United States, former president, want to moderate a debate? See, some things you'd be surprised what people are saying. But this brother, he felt real confident. Now he could not find that nowhere. He Googled it. I said, and I had to do a bet. I said, man, I give you $25 if you can find that somewhere other than in your head.
Yeah, because that wouldn't a Warnock wouldn't even go for that because Herschel Walker, for one, is handpicked by Donald Trump. They want to get him in there big time because Herschel Walker don't have any brains. He's going to be a puppet for Donald Trump. And when he get in office, if he get in office, he's going to do everything that Donald Trump want him to do because Donald Trump is out to save his skin. He got to have red states. That's what he's after. Red states so they can save his skin and
Well,
keep him from going to jail. And
well,
and
you know,
and Walker don't have any sense. I mean, it's
well,
bad to say.
well, you know
What?
what? Now, this is my position. We should be so lucky to have a candidate like that. Okay, and let me be clear. If we vote for somebody, we should either buy, lease, rent, or own what they're going to do, how they're going to represent us. Many
Well,
of the
Trump already
candidates,
done that
especially
with him.
well, 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 just say many of the candidates that represent black and brown people. One of the reasons that I was looking at the headlines that was saying black men, this is here, you can't make this up. They're saying they're trying to, what it says, black male vote remains top of mind heading into the midterms. They're trying to get black males out to vote. They said the women kind of got motivated, but black males are not seeing anything worthy to vote on. Well, you got to have something that you get out of voting. Okay, gone are the days where you say, well, you know what, I voted for so and so, and you don't know or didn't get nothing. Well, one of the things that you have to give the people that support Herschel Walker. I had a conversation with a guy about 2 weeks ago. This was a black guy, and he's a strong Herschel Walker supporter. Now, I couldn't just call him names or anything like that. He had a proven point. He said, one thing I'm sure of, drummer. He said, when Herschel Walker gets into that position, whatever we want, that's what he's gonna do. If we don't want something, he's gonna say no. If we want something, he's gonna say yes. He's not gonna compromise. He's not gonna take any thing other. He's gonna be that hard line senator that says no when they want him to say no, and yes when they want him to say uh, yes. Now we should be so lucky to have a candidate, especially black and brown people, that we can count on like that. We don't have one candidate as black and brown people in America that we can count on. You can say that they out for your best interest as a black person.
Yeah, but then
Not one.
no. Well, I
We should be
think
so lucky.
Warnock is out for our best interest. I mean, because he was a people server before he got into politics. As a pastor,
Okay.
he was a people server, so he was already helping people. And to get in office would enhance his
Well,
ability to help even more. So that's the way
well,
I'm
I,
looking at it. Versus, I don't see anything that Herschel Walker did. I don't see it.
and that's
And
just
for
well,
him,
well,
that
that's
he
just
would be serving the Republicans and their agenda, which is all screwed up. So
well,
that
it's
that wouldn't be a good thing. I
well,
don't see
it's
him
going to
helping
take
anybody else.
Well, it's going to take more than, see, just like that position, the U.S. Senate position. Like I said, we got 180 Georgia House of Representatives, local politicians that's going to shape how Georgia either receives funds or whatever. If you look, you say, well, and the governor, and then you got these state senators. You know, like I said earlier, you got Hot Atlanta. That's the 14, well, I think 20 counties around Atlanta. You got 20 counties around Atlanta. That metropolitan area is somewhere around 3, 4 million people. And then you got the rest of Georgia. Now, the rest of Georgia, believe it or not, is more powerful than Hot Atlanta. That's why they call themselves not Atlanta, because they're not Atlanta. They don't like a lot of what they call the liberal politics of Atlanta. They don't like a lot of the freedoms, the infrastructure. They want to keep those little small towns small and friendly, just
Yeah,
like
but
they
that
used to
ain't
be.
gonna happen because we
Well,
have
it's happening.
those money hungry developers who's looking for land to develop
Well,
and make it
well,
big.
but
You
they
know,
don't want
and
you
then
and I
we
to get
have
some
these
of that pie.
politicians who are going to give them money to do it
Oh,
with and
mm-hmm.
grant them, you know, privileges to do it in places that people don't want. You know, I mean, just like Trump went in and took the land from the Indians with that oil, you know, and the Indians did not want it, and the Trump went in there and did it anyway, so his buddies can make money, you know. And then what happened? The pipes busted and it messed up the land, you know. So
You know
that's
what?
not good right there,
We
huh?
had the questions out there, for everybody in the audience out there. Uh, uh, do you think Herschel Walker is going to show up for the debate?
No,
You
I
don't think
don't
he's
think
going to show
so.
up?
Well, if he
Yeah.
do, he's gonna surprise me because it's too much going against him, especially when his son came up and talking about stop lying. You know,
Hmm.
I don't. If he do, he's gonna surprise me because he had these
Yeah.
other excuses about these football games coming up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can't debate on this day because of a football game. What kind of sense is that? You know,
Mm.
so now with his son, you know, saying stop lying and tell the truth, um, I don't think he will.
Oh,
I,
well,
I, I really,
that's a
because he
good
don't have
question.
anything to say.
Uh, he doesn't have any integrity. But you know what I think? Now, this is what I would do. And maybe we're just going to put it out there. You might as well put it out there into the universe and see can it happen. I think they should invite all of Herschel Walker's ex-wives and girlfriends and put them on the front row of the debate.
And see how well he do, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because see, you got to fact check it. See what happens, and this is typical of the Trump era Republicans. They don't, the facts don't count. The facts don't count. You know, uh, if he beats his wife. And these are ministers. I heard a white minister say, "Well, maybe she got out of line."
That's no reason to put your
Now,
hands on him.
well. Now think about this. Now, and you think Herschel Walker could hit a white woman 50 years ago, and a white male say, "Maybe she got out of line"?
No, they been hung that
Okay.
man.
Oh, okay. Well, see, the facts don't count if if you control, lease, own the efforts of a politician. What they do out in the public life does not matter. And that's what this new Trump era Republicans, they don't care. They don't care about being hypocrites. They don't care what you think. They don't care if it's not moral, if it's not ethical. They don't care.
Well, see, well, we do, and we need to put people in office who do have some morals and who do care about people. You know, all across the board, they need to care. We need to put people in office who will do that. So right now, I don't see anybody on the opposite side because they still want to let Trump go. You know, with the January the 16th. You know, with Hillary, lock her up, and now they talking about
Mm,
Trump, they mistreated him. You know, they want to get rid of
mm,
DOJ because they went in and took those records. You know, but what did
mm.
they do to Hillary? No, no. If anybody else would have done, Obama would have did something like that, he would be under jail and burned up
Well,
probably.
well.
No.
Again, now think about it. That's why this election is so critical because um, when who's ever going to be seated in whether it be the governor, uh, the attorney general here in Georgia, uh, the lieutenant governor, the secretary of state, whoever, one thing about what's the guy, Brad Raffenberger, Bert Perger, he
Mm-hmm.
at least had some integrity when
Yes, he did.
uh, when Donald Trump asked him to find uh, so many thousand votes. He said, "I know you can find them. They there. I know you can find them. I know you." And he backed off. And even you got to give Kemp, you got to give Brian Kemp this. Brian Kemp is not a Trump humper. He's not a chosen candidate by Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump said, "I think I like Stacey better." Now he said that
Oh, really?
at a camp. Oh yeah, that he said that because see, one thing you got to understand or understand this: uh, the South is always a battle of the South and the North. Donald Trump does not have a good track record for outside Georgia. Remember, he left. He one. I think one of his wives, she was from Georgia,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
and
remember
that's
that.
still and that didn't set too well with a lot of because a lot of these people ken each other, and for Donald Trump to come down here and have his way with a Southern belle and get rid of her because she started gaining a little weight, got some bags under her eyes, and kicked her to the curb, and went and got him a import woman. A lot of Southerners don't like that. A lot of Southerners don't like that. So Brian Kemp is not a big fan of Donald Trump. So it's going to be interesting in this race. Okay, it's going to be real interesting in this race.
Yeah.
Like I said, when that guy, just like the guy that I was telling you about earlier, that said, "Well, Donald Trump is going to be now." Just think how ludicrous that sounds. He said Donald Trump is going to moderate the debate between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock, and this guy actually believed this. He was going to take it to the bank. He was willing to bet. I said, "Dude, I don't even want to take your money." He said, I said, "That's the biggest nonsense I heard you say." Now I heard you say some crazy stuff, but this one tops the cake. But
Yeah,
he's
I
not the
don't
only
think he
one.
was
It's probably
doing
other
that.
people. Well, but it's other people just like him that sucked up the Kool-Aid, ran the ball down the field, and found out that the Easter Bunny is not down in Miami vacationing with Santa Claus.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
these are the type of
What?
people we dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
But
the facts don't count. The facts don't count. When you look at, uh, there are people still out there that think, uh, even though they hiring immigrants, they think the immigrants trying to take their job. They think that um, you know there are people that need Medicare, Medicaid, and they would rather not get it. This is sick. They would rather not get it if some because how it's described. Just like Obamacare. There are people they know they need it. They know they don't have an option. But guess what? Rather than admit that they're wrong, they'll vote in the wrong direction.
that's sad.
Oh, that's
That
the
is
sad part.
sad.
To hurt you and me, they would say, you know what? They're gonna be giving benefits out to black, brown people and immigrants. And they'll tell them that. They'll say, if you vote for Warnock or if you vote for or Stacey Abrams, they gonna give your money away. You see these ads that they have on the television now. They say, uh, Warnock gave over uh, so much money, stimulus money, to some guy in some prison in New York. Well, we found that out to be fake news. but
Yeah.
they ran the campaign, and it got into people's minds that, see, it doesn't take much. A lot of propaganda, a lot of fake news, and we're gonna see more of it over the next 20 something days
Yeah,
because
they are
you
really laying it heavy on that too.
oh yeah, it's gonna
And
get,
I'm
and it's gonna
listening
come
to
from
this
both.
stuff. I'm going, how in the world can y'all put this out? They just be
Well,
lying, making people believe. And
yeah,
and somebody's going to believe it. But I encourage you guys, when you're listening to these campaigns, pay attention to it and really decipher whether this is real or not. Because a
yeah,
lot of that stuff
yeah.
they are putting out there is totally false. Totally
Well,
false.
and,
I don't understand why and those Republicans they're so desperate to win. They're just putting any and everything out there
well,
against the Democrats
well,
just to win.
well,
And Democrats, a
uh,
lot of them, they're trying to be honest and do it the right way. But those
hmm,
Republicans,
well. Now,
you,
I have to say this: we got two sides. We got a coin, and it's got two sides, and both of them sides are friends. Now, we got some libertarian candidates that's running too, here
yeah,
in Georgia. Okay, for every position, there's a libertarian candidate. Now, one of the things, and this is where the breakdown of the democracy is going. In Georgia, believe it or not, there's a Republican effort to discredit Herschel Walker.
mm, well,
Yeah.
they need to
Yeah. Well,
save
because you
face.
got to think. Well, you got to think. You got that party is divided. You got the Trump humpers, and you got regular conservative Republicans, and
Yeah.
they don't like the pick that they had. Okay, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have nobody in the coffers to bring up through the ranks. Somebody that stood up. I think what's the lady that ran for? She was the Dream. Um, I can't think of her name, but you don't even hear from her now. But uh, I think they had Doug Collins. He was running, but they don't have Lieberman. They don't have a lot of strong Republicans now. A lot of these people are dying out, uh, or they just don't have that energy to fight or run anymore. So
Yeah.
uh, when they
I would
threw
be
Herschel
just
Walker
too
and her,
ashamed to be run as a Republican. It's like,
well,
no, I can't have that on me.
well, uh, when you think about it, now you got a lot of black Republicans. Like I said, I talked to the brother. He was a big supporter, and he's putting his money where his mouth is. He put maybe $1,500 towards the Walker campaign. And if you talk to him, if you can talk to him without calling them names and all this type, because this is an intelligent brother. Brother actually, is a real educated brother, black male, and he feels confident. He feels very confident about Herschel Walker. And I asked him, I said, "Well, what about Herschel do you like?" He said, "I like his integrity."
Really?
That's what he said.
Mm.
And then,
So,
I like to ask questions. I said, "Well," uh, he said, "He's a honest man. He's a straight shooter." Like I
mm,
said, the facts don't count when you own, lease, or plan to buy a politician. All this stuff don't matter. It matters to you and I because uh, we might not have a vested interest. But if you put some money on a horse, you betting that horse is gonna play or show.
yeah. But
And that's
I'm just going to say this. They are voting, going for Herschel Walker, but I went to school with Herschel for a millisecond, and I didn't like him
mm,
then.
okay.
Literally a millisecond. I did
Why you
not
didn't
like
like it?
him. Huh?
Why you didn't like Herschel Walker? He's American. He's
Because they
Georgia
made a
boy.
god out of him.
Oh,
That's
well, he
because
did
they
give
made a
Georgia their first championship.
yeah, maybe so, but it was to me it was just too much. It's like,
Mm,
how do you spell Heisman? Hershal? Is
mm,
everything about Herschel Walker, Herschel Walker. it's okay to to celebrate Herschel, but it was an overkill for me, and that
Mm.
was a turnoff for
Oh,
me. It was a turnoff,
I see a
and
lot of
then
I see
I
a lot of
remember,
hate for our Georgia boy.
yeah, it's not a hate. I just don't like it. And
Ooh.
I remember when he was in the news long time ago about beating on his
Mm,
wife and pulling a gun and stuff. I remember that a long time ago. So I know
right.
people change, you know, but it doesn't neglect the fact that it happened. I mean, he just like one of the peas in the pod with Donald Trump. Donald Trump don't
Mm,
think there's nothing wrong with mistreating women. I mean, he feel like he's king of the crop because when he was doing the pageants, he felt that he was okay to just walk in the room with these women when they trying to dress. That's being
mm.
disrespectful. He's king. No, I don't like that.
Well,
And he felt like he was king and in the office of the president, and he can do what he want. No, no, he did a lot of stuff, and no, no, and
okay.
I remember when Obama got in office, one-time president. We're gonna make him a one-time president. But then when he became a one-time president, he had a problem with it.
Ooh.
You
But
know,
he's still crying.
yes, he's still crying, and he was calling foul play before the election. I mean, they cheating,
Right.
they rigging and stuff
Well,
before the
ag-
election, and
again,
he's teaching his people
we
to do the same thing,
yeah,
knowing
we in
they
a
wrong.
complex we in a complex climate of people. For the first time, like I said, the facts don't count. See, we trying to be logical. Logic
Mm-hmm.
didn't compute. Let me see. I got a comment. A lot of Republicans would say they're voting for Herschel, but when they get in a voting booth, I think it would be different. I just hope it's not close. Do so they can't say that the election is rigged. And that's a good point. Uh, because there are a lot of ads being sponsored by traditional Republicans, anti Herschel Walker ads. There's a guy, I think his name is Donaldson. He just did a article, and it was in matter of fact, it was over on Fox News. They didn't even want to put it out, but he said there's nothing that Herschel is doing that, and this is a Republican. He said a white male Republican. He says there's nothing that Herschel Walker is doing that warrants his vote. Okay, now just if you just look at the issues, whatever the issues are, Herschel is a back and forth type guy. On one hand, he said he'll, go with the women not having a choice, but then on the other hand, he's had several abortions performed on women. On one hand, he talks about immigration, tightening up the borders, but he's also had immigrants, illegal immigrants, working for him. On one hand, he talks about, uh, you know, uh, it's another thing he brought up, and they found out that he's talking about out of the side of both sides of his mouth. So there are some common sense Republicans that are not buying a lot of the Trumpism. See, the Trumpism is so powerful. That Kool-Aid is so powerful. Once you drink that Kool-Aid, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
it's powerful. It's spiked. And I think there are some Republicans that have come to their senses. And we got to look at it over here on the other side, the Democrat side. There are a lot of black and brown people, especially black males, that are saying, "What are you doing for me?" And Herschel is addressing the needs of some black males, believe it or not, because that brother, he was a longtime Democrat. He crossed over. He said, "Man, they hadn't done anything for me." I mean, you have to have the conversation because he said he's got integrity, he's loyal. I'm like, wow, you know, and this guy really believed that about Herschel Walker. And he
Mm.
backed it up with his money. Yeah, yeah. So there are a lot of people when you look at all these politicians going down the road, the board. There's a lot of people running for office. Now we have to hold each one of these politicians at the same level that we look at Warnock and Walker. Okay,
Yeah.
the same the same microscope. Most people are not looking at their state senators or their state House of Representatives. Those are the folk like Marjorie Taylor Greene out there in Paulding County. Now, those folk don't mind putting her back because she's loyal. Now, she might say some crazy stuff, but she is loyal to the voting people out in Paulding County. That's why she's not gonna have a problem getting reelected.
You think so? So I think some
No,
people
no,
are actually turning away from her because she's so crazy.
it
You
doesn't
know?
matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
You,
matter.
you want
I
you
mean, the
want
facts
you
don't
want
count.
sensible people in office who gonna make logical statements and do logical things. That's the
Well,
way I look at it.
she
You don't
well,
want somebody representing you. You're gonna be embarrassed about.
well, tourism is up in Spalding County since she got elected.
Really?
Yeah, those folk are happy.
Yeah, maybe so. That's
They
because the
are happy.
pandemic is over.
Well, doesn't matter. But
That's
she's
what it
brought
is.
excitement.
The pandemic is
She's
over.
brought Yeah, she's brought excitement to that town, and those folk are gonna make sure she gets back in there. Now, the other people have to ask themselves: the politician that represents you on the state level, most folk don't even know who their state level uh representative is, or their
Yeah.
state. Like I said, there's 180 of them running in Georgia. They got one for each county,
People don't know
and
who
then you
all
got
they are.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Now these are the people that's gonna block that money when it comes down to some federal money for assistance. For instance, if just say if Stacey Abrams wins
hmm
and the rest of Georgia goes red, she will have a hard time as a governor. She will have a
yes, she
hard
will.
time as a governor. So
And
you
that's
see
why we,
how
we need to get
politics.
everybody blue.
Oh yeah, well you got the lawyer blue or the issues, on those things. But that's why we have to be looking and we have to hold these people accountable. Uh, if we don't, if we don't hold them accountable, we won't get nothing out of this.
Yeah. So let's talk about Brian Kemp for 1 second. Okay. So like
Okay.
when the pandemic was going on, he was trying to get people back in school and businesses opening and all that kind of stuff. Now, what folks don't realize, and they campaign on that. Stacey wanted to keep the store close the
Oh yeah,
schools,
yeah.
and Brian Kemp wanted to open up everything. But what they don't understand or realize that when Brian Kemp was trying to open up these schools and put people back to work and stuff like that, the virus went up and the hospitals were more flooded because they didn't stay home to kill it. Stacy was doing the right thing, trying to contain it by keeping people home. But and
Well,
she was concerned about the people, but Brian Kemp was concerned about who the
well,
wealthy people,
yeah.
and let them
Well,
get
you
out
got it
there.
now.
Because my sisters worked for a school and they had to close the school several times because of that
Hmm.
virus. You know, and he wasn't thinking about that. A lot of people got sick and somebody probably died because of that. And he didn't have enough
Hmm.
sense to say, let's contain this first. Let's get this contained. He just want to do
Well,
what the rich
well,
people want. Keep their businesses
yeah.
open.
Well, during that time period, even though Stacey Abrams didn't hold office or nothing like that, that was just a thought that she had. Now
Yeah.
she didn't enforce nothing. She didn't hold the office. But there are people that think she had power. That was her opinion. Now, a couple of things that happened when COVID happened. Uh, those people that went back to work, you know, uh, since a lot, believe it or not, and this one under the Trump era as well, a lot of people, especially white people, didn't thought they was immune to COVID. They didn't go, they went around without the mask. They telling people they had face diapers on. You had fights in Walmart, people getting jumped on, people snatching people's masks. I mean, we were in turmoil a country divided. People that thought
Mm-hmm.
the only people that was catching COVID was black, brown, and poor white people, and they didn't care. Yeah, they put Georgia back to work, and Georgia made a lot of money when a lot of states were not working. The economy kept booming, and like big business. Matter of fact, there's a report that talks about some of Brian Kemp's cronies that made a lot of money during that time period. You know. Oh yeah, don't forget Kemp want to expand Medicaid, and hospitals are closing in the state. And that's a good point. Uh, I think Wellstar is about to pull out. They not,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Medicare. He personally put a personal vendetta to, either stop, slow down, or impede funding uh, for that. Now you would think that anybody over the age of 60, that would mean something to them. They would say, you know what, I can't vote for somebody that's going to take away Medicare.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like I say, the facts don't matter.
Yeah, but then people got to realize one day they're going to get old too, and a lot of
Well,
these
these are
people
the
who
old ones.
vote, a lot of these people who are voting Republican and with facts doesn't matter. They close to that age where they're going to need this help.
Oh yeah,
You know,
but they don't
are they
care. I mean,
depending on it?
they don't want to see you get a benefit. A lot of people, you know, I mean, I mean, they'll stay on a trailer, uh, and be suffering. It's sad when you see people suffering because of ignorance. They say, you know what,
Mhm.
rather than see you have something, and I got to be clear, most of the time there's going to be some poor white people. And see, poor white people are just like poor black folk. They get exploited. Poor white
Yeah.
people are just like poor black folk. They get exploited. Now, and they think they get in a good shape. They believe that they looking out for them. But it's something like Dave Chappelle said one time. He said, man, that man's looking out for me because I'm rich and you poor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna try to look out for the rich people, and that's the other thing.
I always
If
do.
Medicaid doesn't expand, the rich people they'll have some money,
Oh,
to
they're
take
not
care of
worried.
themselves. But what
Oh, yeah.
about their children and their sisters and their aunts and cousins and friends? What about them?
Hmm.
You gonna let them suffer? I got mine.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just got to get yours. That's the
Oh, yeah.
attitude they're having, and that's not
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
You're supposed to look out for everybody. Because
Well,
everybody paid for
well,
it because
that word everybody uh, 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 motivates some people to think that everybody's getting a free handout. See, one of the things that they were able to do on the voter suppression is make it look like, you know what? I was looking at some words that people say. One of the things we want to end is wokeness, cancel culture. Uh, what's his name? Brian Kemp is running on the. He said, "I'm the most uh, unpolitical correct candidate." I mean, these people are running on issues like that, and
yeah,
those are
but
dog whistles.
I tell you where the handout come in. Excuse me, that PPP money. Guess who
Mm,
got it? Yeah,
who
and
got it?
these farmers, the white farmers got money, the black farmers did not. And then when they made it where the black farmers can get some money, then they called this discrimination. They want
Mm,
it all for themselves. Black people can't have
wow.
anything. No,
Oh yeah.
no.
Give me your name again.
Hmm.
That's not it. No, no. That uh they, they it's not a handout. It's about equalness. If you're gonna do it for one, do it for the other. You
Well,
don't think
well,
just because you're black you want a handout. What about just a hand up? You know, you don't want everything given to you. We just need some assistance. You know, I mean, it's the same thing it is with the welfare. They talking about black people. All they want to do is have babies and get welfare checks and food stamps. But who's getting the most
Mm.
food stamps? White people.
Yeah, right.
They're
Yeah.
the one who's getting
Same
those.
thing to
Black
make you
people
laugh,
are
make you
trying to
cry.
work and be on their own because they ain't gonna be getting anything. They're not gonna get it like the white people are. But then yet still they point the finger at the black people, talking about they trying to get welfare and all of that. It's not the black people who's doing that. They're trying
A
to
lot of
be
propaganda.
independent. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of propaganda. They're trying to be independent and trying to do for themselves and try to own businesses and stuff. And white people constantly pounding on them. No, we don't want you to have this business. You can't have this house. And even with the drug things, the drug things are coming up too. They talking about they're having a problem now with them letting the people out of jail. Just for having drugs on them, the marijuana, just for personal
Well,
use, a little cigarette.
right.
They were in jail for
Well,
that. Now the white people are complaining about it. Republicans talking about they want to put the crack people on the streets and all this other stuff. They were just going. They were being delusional. They really
oh yeah.
are.
Well,
Yet still, it's the cocaine people who really need to be in jail, who's
oh,
distributing,
they
which are
should
the
be locked.
white
Oh yeah.
people.
Oh yeah.
They're the
Yeah.
ones who's distributing. And if somebody have a little bit of roach like this, they going to jail for it. That don't make no sense.
Oh.
No,
Oh
but
yeah.
yet still, when they find out they can make money off of it, it's okay. It's okay now to make money off of it. But those people,
CBD oil.
Yeah.
The CBD oil now.
Yeah, it's okay now. But then what about all those people who went to jail for having this stuff?
Ooh,
They need to
yeah,
be
lives
out.
got ruined. Right.
Yes, they did. And we need some reform. We need some reform. Yeah. But it's also time for us to go. We have ran out of time. Anything else you need to say before we get out of here?
Vote. Pay attention. Go to my voters page and get the information. Find out who's running and what their platforms are.
Yes, and be sure you vote. You have until I have to look at my list, my cheat sheet. October the 28th is the last day to request your absentee ballot if you're gonna do it. Okay. And then the early election starts on the 17th. If early
17th.
voting starts on the 17th. So if you're gonna
Right.
vote, hey, go ahead and do it and get it over with. Okay. So on the 20, just in case on the 8th you're busy, you gotta work or you're sick or something like that, you've already got
They
it
won't
taken
let you
care of.
off.
Yeah.
All the way from October 17th to November the 4th is early voting.
Yes. Yeah, so do that as soon as possible and encourage everybody to get out and vote. And don't say it's not going to help me in it, because it will. If it don't help you, it will help your cousin, your grandchild, your niece, your cousin, your friend. Somebody going to be helped by it. Okay, if you don't think you're going to benefit from voting, somebody in your family going to be helped by it. So vote, because our livelihoods are dependent on it. Because one day you might not be able to vote, because people right now, people have lost their lives for you to vote. You need to not let it be in vain. Don't let it be in vain, because you found people at the bottom of the river, people shot, that people houses burned up. Even my uncle went through a whole bunch of stuff, in Mississippi, trying to register people to vote. So
wow.
And you don't want this to go in vain. They don't want you to vote, because voting means something. Okay, you put people in power who will represent you, who will say you don't have to go to jail for this because of this or whatever. You want people to make the right rules and regulations that will benefit you and not just benefit them and put you in the hole. Okay, vote. So until next week, we're going to see you again. This is Sylvia Hayes and Reggie Drama. You are watching Good News at Primetime. And don't forget to get my book, Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. This is a very powerful book. You can get this book at aandkproductions.com. aandkproductions.com. Power Thoughts, empowering you to be successful in life. You will always benefit from reading that book. Okay? Until then, we'll take care and see you later.